This is a book. Its title is It's No Joke We Live in Hell. It was written by AlexanderTNewport, and it was copyrighted and self-published in 2016. All rights reserved. It's available at Amazon worldwide. Welcome to hell. Yep, it's a fact. As sure as shit stinks. Where would love be needed? In heaven? In a fearless and painless dream game? Or where would things exist that are at first very nice, but eventually become boring or even unnice? Where would you meet the love of your life who eventually murders you? Where would love actually mean a damn? It wouldn't mean diddly squat if you were burning in eternal flames. Wouldn't mean much if you were burning one moment and freezing the next. The worst kind of hell would be an existence where you often forget you're in hell, only to be rudely and unpredictably reminded time and time again. And even worse still, where most everyone around you denies that it is hell, even though they have suffered many times and will suffer again many more times to come. The worst kind of hell wouldn't be constant pain. It would be alternating dualities and dynamics and polarities, pain and pleasure, pain and no pain, achievements and losses, fulfilled and unfulfilled desires, love and hate, friends becoming enemies, injury and healing, birth and death. It's the good times that help you forget you're in hell. That's not to say you should avoid good times, just remember where you are when you experience them. But you won't. Many people do not realize all of us here are in hell. This is the dream game called hell. We have been predestined to forget very often this is hell, so that we will usually feel surprised and disappointed when something shitty and fucked up happens. Nothing here in hell is real. We are actually perfect spirits, perfect eternal conscious energy, whose home state of reality, or rather, whose home state of awareness, is reality heaven. We created this hell because it is but one option out of an infinite variety of options. We created it to forget our home state of awareness. We knew beforehand we would forget our home state of awareness. We knew it was necessary in order for this dream game to seem believable. We also knew nothing here could threaten our perfection as spirits. We knew that no matter what happens or who does what to whom, our perfection will always remain unchanged as perfect eternal conscious energy. Where? What kind of world would assassinations take place in? Suicide bombers? Cancer? Head colds and flu? Guns and poisonous gas? Nazism and the KKK? Tornadoes? Spiders? Scorpions? Poisonous snakes? Con artists and thugs? Politicians and killers of children? Lawyers and rapists? Anal fissures and migraines? Prisons and taxes? Bullies and serial killers? Stinking dirty assholes and pharmaceutical companies? Shit and vomit? Piss and putrefaction? Where else? It sometimes seems hard to believe we live in hell because it's meant to seem that way. Of course it is. If you could avoid forgetting this is hell, then you would not be so emotionally rocked by pain or grief or disappointment every time something bad happens. And then, what would be the point in your being here? You're here to suffer and love. And the more love you give, the less you suffer. But you can't give love if you can't see the suffering. And that's some feat given the fact that everyone here is suffering. One way or another, in private, behind closed doors, behind closed eyes, everyone has fears and bad memories. We have our good days and bad days. We have days of both good and bad. We are all aching to be loved and treated kindly by everyone. but bitter and disillusioned that this ain't so and will never be so, because this is hell. The only place a sense of humor would be worth a damn would be in hell, don't you think? I ride the bus and look at who comes on. I look at the window. I look at the people walking on the sidewalks or riding in cars. I look at the people who come into the library. I look at all these people. I look at their faces and I see it. I see the suffering or the memories of it. I see the heartaches, the betrayals, the guilt, the shame, the anxiety, the unfulfilled desires, and I smile at them and say hello, and give them the best help and good vibes I can, because I know what it's like to wear a mortal frame, complete with a fucked up personality, and its irresistible thoughts and feelings and urges and desires. I know what it's like to feel hopeless, to feel shitty about the shitty things other humans do, to feel disappointed with my own horrible behavior, to feel greedy or needy or lonely or empty. I know firsthand, and because I know, I am therefore obligated, by my heart, to feel sorry for everyone, especially the assholes and the troublemakers. They are the way they are because they refuse to believe they are in hell. They think they are anywhere else and are having an uncommonly rough time getting things to constantly work out in their favor. So they behave like hostile, ugly pieces of shit. They haven't realized that here in hell, nothing ever constantly goes right for anyone. To suffer less, love more. Love the way things are right now, no matter how fucked up they may be. But this will make no sense to those who don't realize or believe this is hell, and that's okay. They came here for hell and are getting what they came for, regardless of their beliefs. Revelation. You can try to be loving and kind all the time in the hope of not having to suffer anymore, but you will still suffer because this is hell. Harden yourself or soften yourself, you're still gonna suffer. Love can sometimes alleviate the suffering. It can turn anger into sorrow and sorrow into compassion, but the best thing to aim for is either outright apathy or demonic laughter at the genius and diabolically fucked up nature and design of this predestined hellish dream game. If you knew they were in hell, you couldn't bear to hate them or add to their suffering by acting like an asshole. Love is being nice. And that's it. That's all there is to it. Romantic love, and there's nothing wrong with it, but it's actually nothing more than a biological trick to get you to reproduce. No joke. Love is simply being nice. Any embellishment on that definition is nothing more than a delusion spawned by unrealistic, idealistic, and love songs. Shall I say it again? Love is simply being nice. Any embellishment on that definition is nothing more than a delusion spawned by unrealistic idealists and love songs. Love is being nice. You don't have to be religious or holy or candy-ass sweet about it. Just see yourself in everyone you meet. They are in hell and probably don't realize it. Your love will touch their love, and you will feel it. It will feel friendly. It will feel easy and kind. Your love will touch their love. You can see it in their face, in their eyes. You can see their surprise. You've connected for a moment, and it's like touching home base. You can only feel love when you're giving love. No one spiritual is watching you. No invisible someone is keeping tabs on your behavior and thoughts. No one is waiting to judge you after you die. You give and feel love just for the fuck of it. The reward is instant. Bad things happen to everyone here, regardless of how loving they are, because this is hell. And where else would such madness occur? Where else but in hell would you find it easier to be nicer to strangers than your family and friends? Where else but in hell would familiarity breed contempt? Where else but in hell would you have innumerable theories, no facts whatsoever, about the purpose and origins of mortal life? Hunter S. Thompson used a gun to blow his brains out whilst he was on the phone with his wife. His son, grandson, and daughter-in-law were in another room in the house. How nice was that? And in what kind of world would that happen? The dude had fame and fortune and friends. He had it all. And pain, too. Lots of physical and psychological pain. You don't believe you're in hell, do you? You figure it should be uglier and more painful, yeah? Stick around. You were not sent here. You were not compelled. You did not come here to grow or improve or develop as a spirit because you have always been and always will be spiritually perfect. Where did you get the idea that hell shouldn't have flowers, or chirping birdies, or pretty sunsets, or rainbows, or gorgeous titties, or beautiful plump vulvas? And those flowers die, Jack, and them vulvas can have syphilis, and you wouldn't know it by looking at them. Some of the prettiest sunsets are actually announcing the imminent arrival of a hurricane or typhoon, and we all know what happens then. Some of the prettiest cleavages and faces hide the ugliest personalities. You and me, and that makes we, and we have a world of hurt. We have neighbors neglecting to help each other, medical care that costs way too much when it should be free, super cramped airline seats for most passengers, people enforcing laws regarding what a person cannot ingest or smoke, penniless people starving whilst food rots in storage or is thrown away by restaurants and grocery stores. And we are doing this to ourselves. You and me, amigo. Remember the Rodney King video? A veritable swarm of cops beating the holy fuck out of him? That was you and me, brother. We was whomping on that human being, and we was that human being. Remember the riots that followed when the cops who were tried were found not guilty of going too damn far with their brutal and heinous behavior? We went stark raving mad and burned down our own town, pulled innocent strangers from their vehicles on the streets and beat them like filthy meat puppets. Not them, but you and me, and that makes we. Say again, where do you think you are? You call this place what? You mean to say no one has ever told you this was actually hell? They only said war was hell? But where would a bloody awful thing like a fucking war take place? We cherish lovely music and high-quality art and entertainment because it has been made here in hell. Not in some sort of paradise, not at school, but here in the world of pain and suffering and worry and disappointment and loneliness and poverty. Here in a world of shit. Here in a world of hassles and freakouts and misunderstandings and misinterpretations and conflicting desires. And we still manage to create beauty and laughter. The best art is usually born from suffering. When it is born from happiness, it is but an anomaly, an exception to the rule. And the only place where rules could have exceptions would be a tragic comic nightmare called hell. You were told this was Earth. Nice, simple, neutral-sounding word, Earth. And they told you Earth is in the Milky Way galaxy. Sounds sweet and dreamy, doesn't it? Yeah, we're all on the good ship Lollipop. Ain't it an endless source of amusement when people argue that this place isn't hell? No, it's not. It's actually quite tiresome. The more they deny it, the more they confirm it. You can talk about attitude and perception all you want, but you cannot consistently sustain the application of any attitude or perception here in hell. much less the ones you seem to think are responsible for your happy and good times. The funniest thing about what I'm saying is the fact that you think I'm kidding The funniest thing about what I'm saying is the fact that you think I'm kidding or pretending to be ultra cynical and dark and negative, but I'm actually dead serious. I once used to seriously believe this place was the land of the dead, because I figured what better name for a place where everything dies. But I have since realized that this place, this mortal world, this earth world, this human condition, is a lot worse than just a place where everything dies. Are you ashamed to admit you live in hell? But you weren't sent here. It's not some sort of cosmic punishment. You chose it out of curiosity. That's right, curiosity rather than a desire for a tough challenge, because challenge implies you can break the back of something or defeat your programming and consistently avoid any kind of suffering, pain, discomfort, disappointment, illness, or injury. But that ain't possible here. And you can't help but forget this over and over and over. It's all part of the programming in your virtual reality skin suit, your mortal vehicle. Yes, indeed, the carrot at the end of the stick is actually made of wood and painted orange, but you can't stop chasing it. Can't stop thinking, when I get such and such, I'll be happy all the time. Can't stop hoping there will be no more pain of any kind. Can't stop getting disappointed when bad things happen or something good you hoped for fails to happen. And you still think just because someone is laughing or smiling that they aren't also suffering. And you still think just because someone is rich and or famous that they don't suffer anymore. Or you think they suffer less than someone who is poor and anonymous. But you can't help it. And neither can I. Our virtual reality skin suits, our mortal personalities and bodies, are designed with various limitations and talents. They are genetically programmed with time-released or stress-activated illnesses and diseases, both physical and psychological. And so it sometimes doesn't matter what our intentions or goals are. They will sometimes get sidetracked or interrupted or interfered with, and there ain't fuck all we can do about it except write it out and make the best of what we have at hand. Believing this world is hell ain't no more meaningful than believing it's heaven or a school for spiritual growth or some kind of freak accident, except for the moments in which it appears or seems more meaningful. But the thing is, our beliefs wax and wane, fade in and out, flow from strong to weak, and vice versa. And this ensures that our mortal existence is mysterious, and therefore untrustworthy. You can't trust what I'm saying, and neither can I. We can't trust any noun or verb, thought or thing, wise man or fool, good time or bad, pleasure or pain. And that sounds like hell to me. If you believe this is hell, and you have a heart, you'll not be crushed or destroyed by bad things happening to yourself or others, but you'll still get disappointed. To know this is hell and to understand why most people don't know it can't help but make you feel sorry for every single one of them. After all, the way they're freaking out proves they think this place is anywhere but hell. The sanest here in hell are those who are least affected when bad things happen, yet also know that most people don't realize this is hell. The sane feel compassion and sympathy for those who know not where they are, instead of irritation or anger at the fact that they take bad things far too seriously. Sometimes you can't help taking things too seriously, just as you can't help forgetting this is hell. It's all in your programming. It's in your genes. It's what you've come here for. To be fooled into believing this world is not only real, but the only world you'll ever know. You'd like to think you're special and enlightened for realizing this is hell, but the realization does not keep you from getting disappointed. It does not keep you from feeling the things humans feel, both good and bad. All it might do is help you to not lose your balance so often, nor fall too deeply into despair or disappointment. But even if you do fall far and deep, so what? Nothing real is being threatened. My definition for the word real is something that never changes. It has always existed the way it is and will always exist the way it is. It is therefore absolutely trustworthy. Our home state of awareness is real. It is the spiritual state of sanity and sobriety, the original state of mind, the state of thinking and feeling awareness we wake up within upon our mortal deaths. We as perfect spirits are real. Our lives are eternal, even though we live and die bazillions of times as temporary creatures in dream games. A dream game is unreal and fake and illusory because it changes. Not only does it change, but it changes unpredictably and eventually disintegrates, and therefore it is absolutely untrustworthy. Let me read that again. A dream game is unreal and fake and illusory because it changes. Not only does it change, but it changes unpredictably and eventually disintegrates, and therefore it is absolutely untrustworthy. A dream game is an altered state of spiritual awareness. The only way to achieve and experience an altered state of awareness, such as a mortal life dream game, is to intentionally forget your home state of awareness. There must be an infinite variety of dream games. There must be as many as our infinite intelligence can conceive. This just happens to be the one known as hell. We can say without fear that no matter what you do or don't do, your perfection and condition as a spirit can never be threatened because you as a spirit can never be changed. That which cannot be changed cannot be threatened or controlled. When Adolf Hitler died, he woke up in the same place as Mother Teresa. Dig? He woke up where we all wake up. You are a perfect spirit. You have always existed as a perfect spirit, an eternal thinking and feeling entity. As a spirit, you were not born or made or created. Your home state of awareness is reality heaven. It is totally sane. There is no God. There is only the truth, and it never changes. It is never obscured, and you know it without even trying whenever you are awake and aware within your home state of awareness. One of the beautiful things about reality heaven is the fact that you can do whatever you can imagine. And one of the things you have imagined is that you could forget the truth so you could experience this particular dream game. All spirits are perfectly equal and equally perfect. Not one is dumber or smarter, older or younger, better or worse, more loving or less loving than any other. All living creatures on earth are perfect spirits in disguise. They are all spirits in a material world, a world of temporary matter. Being a human creature, a Homo sapien, doesn't mean jack shit. You could have chosen to be a tree, or a cactus, or a bedbug, or a germ. For a long, long time, philosophy, as taught in universities throughout this mortal world, has favored complexity over simplicity. The simple truth or theory ain't sexy enough. You appear more impressive when you're double-talk and jive about dipshitted theories from a bunch of dead Europeans who are no better than mediocre philosophers at best. Here are the 3 fundamental questions philosophers should think about. Why am I alive in a temporary world? Is there a Daddy Almighty Creator God? And if so, what are its qualities? Is there life after death? And if so, what are its qualities? It might also be beneficial to contemplate your definition of real. I, Alexander T. Newport, the Philobabblist Extraordinaire, am the greatest philosopher to appear on this earth since René Descartes. If you'll recall, Descartes' contribution was that he could doubt everything in this life except the fact that he existed within it. He figured, I think, therefore I am. But he didn't question the reality of what he existed within. Sure, he exists, but in what kind of world and life? He did not comment on the fact that this world and life is temporary. He did not conceive that there are simply 2 worlds, the real and the fake. The real is eternal. The fake is temporary. The real never changes. The fake often changes and ultimately disintegrates. The real is pure intelligence. The fake is stupid and confusing. The real is pure knowledge. The fake is mysterious. Why am I alive in this temporary world? Because I can be. It's an option in reality heaven to forget the truth so we can experience a dream game, a diabolical lie. Just knowing the truth all the time becomes boring. Dream games are the antidote to the crush of eternal boredom. Is there a Daddy God Creator? And if so, what are its qualities? No, there is no Daddy God Creator. There doesn't need to be one. The simplest answer is that spiritual life has always existed. It never began and will never end. It is actually composed of perfect spirits. Perfect, eternal, conscious spirits. Perfect, eternal, individual thinkers and feelers. Pure love and infinite intelligence. Each of them created their own roles, personalities, and destinies in this dream game. Is there life after death? And if so, what are its qualities? Yes, there is life after death. It's called waking up from a bad dream. It is the real life. Its qualities are love and intelligence and peace. It is eternal. It is perfect. There are no rules or limitations, no judges or juries, no obligations or responsibilities, no threats of any kind. It is fearless. There is no way to prove or disprove any philosophical guess or theory within this mortal world. Therefore, the value of any philosophy or spiritual guess lies within whether or not it gives you comfort and or hope, especially in times of despair. Conclusion. When someone acts rude or hateful, it is only because they have forgotten this is hell or haven't even yet realized it. You can't help but feel sorrow and compassion and empathy for those who act mean and ugly and greedy and holier than thou because you remember how you used to behave that way before realizing we are all living in hell. But that's not to say you become a saint or a love bug. You'll still lose your rag and tell people who rub you the wrong way to fuck off. But overall, if you truly believe this mortal world is hell, then you can't help but to not take anything very seriously, especially the bad stuff, whether it's inside of you, happening to you, or happening to someone else. You also can't help seeing yourself in everyone you meet. You treat them courteously and kindly because you know that's how you prefer to be treated. You cut them some slack when they appear unkind. You figure they are just helplessly taking things much too seriously. You also cut some slack for those who seem underprivileged or poor or seem to be having a bad day. You waive their fines. You let them go with just a warning. You don't rip them off like your employer trained you to do. You go out of your way to please them because it feels nice to be nice. It feels first class to be kind and accommodating because it's this moment we have to bear, not tomorrow. No guarantee there will be a tomorrow for you. Only this moment. And it can only be nice when you want to be nice first, instead of waiting for others to make the first nice move. Why wait for others when most of them don't even realize we are in hell? When you realize we are in hell, then you can't take anything too seriously anymore, including your feelings and convictions and memories. And you can't help feeling sorry for the whole world, especially those who seem like they have it all. Because the dam will burst, and the cancer will return, and money can't buy you self-love, and without self-love, life in hell ain't worth living in and coping with. And what is love? It's being nice. You have to be nice to yourself first, and allow that niceness to extend to other living beings. The best way to be nice to yourself is to forgive what you hate about it. Forgive. Forgiveness. Most people seem to think forgiveness means approval, but it actually means to overlook. To overlook. Look past it. Stop holding on to it. Let it go. Let it fade to the background. When you overlook it, you can't be bothered with revenge and grudges and picking at your wounds so they won't heal. But no matter what we do or think, or don't do or don't think, we will continue to have ice cream and poop, good times and bad, pain and no pain, because we are in hell. And just because hell ain't always a bad place to be, doesn't mean it ain't still hell. If anything, the good times affirm it and trick us into staying. Yeah, that's it, baby. That's the end of the book. I mean, there's an afterword, but I'm not going to read the afterword to you. If you want to read the afterword, you have to buy the motherfucking book. And there's some pictures and some other shit there. Well, there's only one picture. There's a photograph of the author. Me, Alexander T. Newport, your Philobabblist Extraordinaire. Thanks for listening. As I said, this book is for sale at all Amazons worldwide. It's for sale at other fucking places I don't know anything about and probably don't get any fucking money from, but there you go. I think it's reasonably priced. I have not overpriced it. I've been diligent about pricing it fairly. I prefer the paperback version myself, but it is also available on Kindle. I have been your host and your author and your Philobabblist Extraordinaire, Alexander T. Newport. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing this video. And thank you for, you know, realizing we live in hell, motherfucker, and that it's nothing personal. And yet it's everything personal.